On JoyNews Prime, families of murdered Takrady girls vow to resist what they describe as attempts by the police to close the case, insisting their girls are not dead.
Test na waye no. Aha abata ye hu dompe. Na ye hu test no so report obey. Ne dan da anu na ode bekan. Na nti am so hon menjintum.
They tell JoyNews they have resolved to hire their own investigators to look for their girls. Tonight, as criticisms pour in on the police's handling of the investigation and the entire case, we reflect on the lessons that the case offers. After days of chaos at the Computer Placement Solutions Center at the Black Star Square here in Accra, there was a lot more order on Tuesday amidst assurances from the Ghana Education Service that the issues will be resolved by Friday.
Before Friday, on or before Friday. As we speak now, the 122,000 who were supposed to do self-placement, we have less than 40,000 now who have not done self-placement.
In business,
Bank of Ghana begins operations to ensure businesses comply with foreign exchange regulations.
Forex bureaus are mandated to issue receipt, electronic receipt, and they are also supposed to take IDs to support these transactions.
I'm Israel Line. JoyNews Prime comes to you live from the JoyNews studio here in Accra with digital address G80992539. Stay tuned in. In our first story, families of the 4 Takrady girls who went missing last year only to be declared dead on Monday, kept DNA analysis conducted on human remains retrieved about 4 weeks ago in the Western Region capital, have been formally reacting to the announcement by the acting IGP. Acting IGP James Oponbuenu at Monday night's news conference said the DNA results prove that the remains are that of Ruth Abeka, Ruth Lofquazing, Priscilla Bentum and Priscilla Mantibia Cranche. The families at a news conference in Takrady have challenged the results, saying they believe the police completely bungled the investigation from the onset and that they intend to hire their own people to go search for their girls. The disappointment of the families, meanwhile, appears to have fueled some resentment towards the police, as witnessed by Kojo Yangsing in the following report.
Police officers on patrol in Diabene found themselves beating a sharp retreat when members of the community set upon them with hoods, boos and jeers. With chants of away, away, and loud cacophonous clanging of pots and pans, the mainly female members of the community who had just finished the press conference on the DNA results of the missing girls drove away the police officers who say they had stopped as part of a routine patrol. Kojo Yangsing was there when it happened and he sought a reaction from the embattled police officers.
Are hooting at the police who are driving past in a white pickup. The police simply driving through the community, and you can see that members of the community are hooting at them.
We are on a general patrol.
So why, can you tell us why you have stopped here?
No, wait. Let them go. Let them go.
Okay. Wait.
It is normal. Every police officer have been trained to accommodate any situation in which you will be confronted with. So whether hostile or not hostile is part of our routine.
The people here think the police have done a bad job with this investigation. What do you think?
I will not comment.
You think the police did a good job?
I will not comment on that.
The press conference was held to express the displeasure of family and friends of the kidnapped girls toward the police for their handling of the case.
Ruth Abeka, she was kidnapped 29th July 2018. On the following day that I reported the case to police, nothing was done until the boys were at school before they called us to deal with these very cases. You want the sheet of the analysis?
Yes, the certified
sheet of the analysis
of the forensic.
You question them that very day when they are come to take the DNA. That when are they going to complete this very process? They told us they don't know. It will take a time. And you question them. How do they know? Because the bones. How long has they kept the bone? Whether 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years? Because you cannot take a bone that you don't know the period that has been buried, and you assume it to come and tell us that, sitting at that vessel, telling us that it's our daughters.
Grandfather of Ruth Abeka, the first of the 4 girls to be kidnapped, says the police would have done a better job of finding the girls if they had been from wealthy or influential families. Speaking to Kojiangsin in their home in Diabene, Emmanuel Anza Kobna complained bitterly about the way his granddaughter's case was handled from the day he reported her missing. According to him, the regional police commander has no idea about his granddaughter's case until 9 months after her disappearance. Mr. Kobina also expressed his displeasure at how the news of the DNA results were communicated to his family. He said to date, nobody from the police had been sent to inform them of the test results, and they first heard their daughters being declared dead on the news.
We heard the news from JoyNews. JoyNews. MyJoyOnline was telecast the press conference of IGP. That we heard that very news.
So nobody came here?
Nobody, no single. We are very sad. And
till
all
now,
police, they know me. The whole police in the Western region, they know of this very case, and they know me, and they have been coming here before IGP came to my house to congratulate us for taking patient for the period.
Are hooting at the police who are driving past in a white pickup. The police simply driving through the community, and you can see that members of the community are hooting at them.
All right, so let's look at the chronology of events as it happened and what brought us to where we find ourselves, which was last night when the police put out the announcement. So Ruth Abeka was kidnapped on July 29. Then she was the first person to be kidnapped, even though not much has been heard about her case until recently. Then August 17, Priscilla Blessing Bentum also went missing. And then we had the third case as well. Then on December 22, the main suspect, Samuel Ulutuk Wills, was first arrested. Then on December 30, he escaped from the Takoradi Central Police Cell. And then 7 police officers at that point were directed to reproduce the suspect. Now, Samuel Ulutuk Wills was recaptured. April 29, the main suspect was sentenced to 18 months in prison, and it was not for the case of the kidnapping, but had to do more with the jailbreak. Now, June 12, he was arraigned at Secondary Takoradi High Court 2. And August 2, Nigerian authorities arrested third suspect Chika in Abuja. Chika is still in custody in Abuja. September 16, the acting IGP provided information on the DNA results, which happened on Monday night. Then we're looking at the promises and assurances that have come up first. January 27, Gender Minister says the girls will be found soon. March 21, the Interior Minister, the police was on top of the matter. That was his comment. And April 2, the police CID said we know where the girls are. Then in April 24, Daily Guide newspaper reported that the girls had been rescued and were at a BNI facility. June 17, the Minister of State and National Security said they were doing everything to find the girls. July 25, President Nana said, we are working hard to find the missing girls. Now, tonight, as criticisms of the police pouring, we'll speak with a criminologist at Cambridge University with considerable insight into the inner workings of the Ghana Police Service and who consults for the service, Dr. Justice Tankebe. Thank you for making time, Dr. Tankebe. We will be seeking your thoughts about the developments in this case and whatever lessons you believe could be learned. First, though, we bring you a recap of the story and how we arrived at Monday night's announcement that the missing Takoradi girls are now confirmed dead.
Just go just a minute, please.
First ever demonstration by families and friends of the missing girls in Takoradi.
We want the kidnapper. We want our sister back. That's all. Because they can't tell us that the kidnapper was jailed in a police custody and he was able to escape. Why? Why? So we want answers. They have to explain to us why the kidnapper was able to escape from that cell.
told you he has been arrested.
That one we don't know.
So where are our girls? He has been arrested. Where are our girls? We can't find them. We want our girls. That is what
That's why we are doing
whether he has been arrested or whatever. When they arrested him first, he confirmed that. So why is it that they didn't force him to go and bring the girls? They didn't do anything. He escaped and they've arrested him. What give us the assurance that we will get our girls? That is what we want. Only our girls.
The demands for speedy investigations soared. Social media was awash with hashtags, all making calls to action to find and rescue the girls.
In the meantime, we're still looking for the girls. See something, say something.
Bring back our tardy girls.
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 It had been weeks of trauma for the families, and on the 17th of January, they gave the police a week to find the girls or face another protest.
Now we feel the police needs to be pressured in order for them to act swiftly. They are working. We know they are working. They are doing what they can. But I think there is more effort. There is more to be done. So if the past presidents and civil society organizations put themselves in the matter, I think it would ginger the police to speed up their work.
But soon, a kidnapping scare hit Sekondi Takoradi with numerous alleged cases. On the 22nd of January, the Western Regional Police Command, through its public relations officer, gave another reason for optimism.
We are just assuring the family that we are not leaving any stone unturned. We need the necessary information. Any credible information is needed for us to make progress.
The police CID boss and the gender minister visited the families on the 26th of January 2019 to reassure them of intensified efforts by the police to rescue the girls.
I asked if the girls are alive. I am told they are. So we will continue to pray that God would touch the hearts of the people keeping them so they won't harm them. Shouldn't think we are not doing anything about it.
All this while, one suspect, Samuel Idotek Wells, was in the custody of the police. On the 11th of February, he revealed during his cell break trial that a CID officer aided his escape. The acting Western Regional Police crime officer set up investigations into the escape of the suspect, but was tight-lipped on the result of the investigation. Soon, the family held another press conference on the 14th of February to demand a presidential intervention.
So therefore, we are calling Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to come to our aid, to help us. If not, 22nd of this month, we are going to have massive demonstration.
But on the 2nd of April, the CID boss once again gave the families hope, reassuring them of the safety of the girls.
Together with the BNI, we've worked very well, and currently we know where the girls are. I am unable to give the details because we don't want to compromise their safety. We are working hard together with other stakeholders so that these girls are brought back home safely. The assurance to the family is that they should keep on keeping on.
The families began mounting pressure on the police, threatening to storm the CID headquarters because, according to them, they had been kept in the dark about investigations. But months after, the families only hang on hope. The hope that their girls would be rescued. But that hope began dwindling when the police retrieved human remains from a septic tank behind the house of suspect Samuel Idotek Wells.
It is never going to be our girls. Our girls are alive. They know that the girls are there, so they should go and bring them.
The families then had submitted themselves for a DNA test, the result of which has presented the entire nation with even more questions.
All right, so as I indicated earlier, we're joined via Skype by a criminologist with Cambridge University, Dr. Justice Tankebe. And I know that you actually consult for the Ghana Police Service, and you also, I'm learning, provide strategic directions for police chiefs around the world. So thank you very much for making some of this insight available to us here in Ghana. I want us to start from some of the mistakes that people have criticized the police for. They talk about the fact that the police didn't act as swiftly as they should have in this case, and that in the very early hours of the reporting of the kidnapping, the police could have handled the situation a lot better. What are your thoughts about that?
Just to clarify that, I have not been involved with the police with respect to this matter. That's just to make that clear. I think if you ask the police themselves, they would admit that clearly the way they have handled this particular incident, and indeed many other violent crime incidents, have not been satisfactory. And what we see here is nothing more than a symptom of the deep problems we have with our Ghana Police Service. And I do remember, sorry, you wanted to ask a question?
No, that's fine.
Okay, so you find in this particular case everything that is wrong with policing in Ghana. The fact that we lack standardized procedures for handling cases, the fact that there is very poor mechanisms of accountability. We are not able to track what happens at a police station, the human resource base, the overall structures that we have. This is the problem this is just the symptoms of that problem that we are witnessing here. And I tell you, we would probably, since this case, the Takoradi incident, we've had similar cases like that, and the results will be the same unless we are willing to address the fundamental issues wrong with the Ghana Police Service. Because you cannot have a police service that you neglect for decades and suddenly expect it to deliver on some of these issues to our satisfaction. I think that's just asking too much of them.
All right. Now, Dr. Tenkebe, you talk about the fact that we've had a number of incidents, and we're going to have a number of incidents following the Takoradi case, and we're still going to bungle it. But if we look at the case of the Canadians, the kidnapping of the Canadians, the police acted quite professionally and got results very quickly.
But there's a sense in which every crime problem can have its unique features. And therefore, the chances of resolving some cases will be much better, depending on the information, depending on the circumstances of those cases. So it's sometimes very difficult to make these comparisons. Even in the most developed, most professional police services, they will have murders that are recent, they've been able to resolve. There are some that have lingered on for decades that they haven't been resolved. So there's a sense in which that might be a criticism that still doesn't address the issue.
You talk about the fact that the police should have acted, the lack of protocols when it comes to handling some of these cases. What would you have advised the police to do in this particular case, or what was it that they didn't do which they should have done?
I think what we need to ask ourselves is, what kind of institutional reforms do we need in order to curtail the possibility of having cases like this? And what we need are, I think, decentralized police service so that we can create the room for greater innovation that brings in evidence-based police practices, which we know tend to improve the chances of police services, providing us much more effective services. What we need is to think about the way that we can improve accountability within the police service so that when a case is reported at even the remotest police district, there can be some way of tracking progress on that case. What we need is to think about how we can help the police to prioritize cases so that the theft of my chicken or my goat will not be deserve the same resources as kidnapping, as rape, as domestic violence, as murder, as kidnapping. How can we help the police to prioritize that and to make use of the best available research evidence on what works in dealing with some of these cases? How can we reform our police services so that their relationships with victims of violent crime in particular can be improved? Look at the Takoradi case. It shows clearly that even if we have some protocol, some procedure for dealing with victims, we have no way of ensuring that that is actually implemented and monitored and improved. And those are the sort of issues that we have to try to get at. And unless we have those sort of reforms, there is no way we can avoid cases like this from happening. I do recall when the Ayawaso Commission was sitting, I made a suggestion that its mandate should have been a kind of a double mandate, so that it could investigate the immediate issues in Ayawaso and then pull back a little bit and look at what sort of police service, what sort of security architecture, security service do we need, especially the police, given their critical role in a democracy, and what sort of reforms will be required in order to place them in a position to be able to deliver those services. Unfortunately, we didn't do that. And here we are. We've got another window of opportunity with this unfortunate tragedy today. I mean, that has been a kind of a slow-motion scandal. To take advantage of this scandal, to investigate what sort of reforms are required, and to implement those reforms. Look, the police in London, the police in whichever police service you think is the best in the world, no one wakes up in the morning and thinks about, oh, we might need a police reforms today. If you look at their history, reforms tend to be driven by scandal. But unfortunately, in our case, every scandals come and go. We don't take advantage to make the kind of reforms that are needed. And I think it will be the tragedy, the suffering that the families of these victims are going through would be even, the real tragedy, or in fact, another level of the tragedy will be that we fail to take advantage of this to ensure that other families do not go through similar experiences.
Dr. Tankebe, one of the other issues or criticisms of the police has to do with the matter of intelligence failure. They indicated that they had leads which sent them to Nigeria only for those leads to grow cold. Is it regular that at some point the police will be following leads that grow cold? And for which reason? Or that was the reason, or it was based on that intelligence that the police CID boss announced to the country that they knew where the girls were, only for us to come back later, months on later, to realize that in fact the girls are dead?
I think if you have an incident, a violent crime incident like this, you are bound to have multiple leads. Some of them will run cold. But what you should not do is to tunnel, is to focus narrowly on a particular lead. You have to have your options open. You have to be able to have a way of assessing the lead and how do you assign your resources, your investigative officers, so that they can follow these multiple leads. I think that it's something that any investigator, I'm sure if you speak with them, they will tell you that in their experience, you will get leads that run cold. But the lesson from that is that you shouldn't tunnel. You should find a way of following all these leads that you might have, the various possibilities. I mean, how come that, and I'm very reluctant to criticize the police on tactical matters like this. I think what we shouldn't be doing is precisely that. We should be thinking about how can we create the institutional environment for them to function. Because if we have that institutional environment, they would have done precisely what they did later, which is to try to engage with the family, which is to try to go to the residence of the suspect and try to follow all the leads that they subsequently did.
Dr. Tenkebe, would you give them any credit at all, probably the way they handled the DNA analysis?
I think the only credit that one can reasonably give is credit that arises from the reforms that will normally follow a scandal. If the police learn from this incident and they do things differently, and we can track and say, yes, they are improving the structure, the resources are being invested in the police service, then we can begin to give them the credit for learning the lesson. But we certainly cannot rush into giving credit for what has been a huge national scandal, one that in many other places, the reaction will be entirely different.
All right.
The fact that we can have an... Okay.
Would you then say that some heads must roll or some people must be made to resign, especially when you also talk about the fact that this is a systemic problem, and so does that help if we have people go?
Again, it depends on what that particular action signifies. Does it signify a willingness to reform the police, or we are just engaged in scapegoating particular individuals? Of course, when you have a scandal, two things will normally follow. One, some individuals will pay a price for what they have done or failed to do. And two, you will have structural reform in order to prevent similar incidents. If we just focus on punishing individuals and the structures remain the same, the way we do recruitment, the way you investigate cases, the scope for evidence-based interventions, the relationship between police and families of violent crimes, if all those things remain the same, then that punishment of the individuals involved would have amounted to nothing more than a stunt, which will not help future victims.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Justice Tenkebe. He is with Cambridge University. He's a criminologist with Cambridge University. Thank you very much for your time. And moving on, we're taking a break at this point, but still ahead in the bulletin. With the days of chaos at the Computer Placement Solution Center at the Black Star Square here in Accra, there was a lot more order on Tuesday amidst assurances from the Ghana Education Service that the issues will be resolved by Friday.
Before Friday, on or before Friday. As we speak now, the 122,000 who were supposed to do self-placement, we have less than 40,000 now who have not done self-placement.
That's our other big story of this evening. But also, we have the opportunistic angels who showed up at the Black Star Square. We have that story also. The Ghana Education Service has assured hundreds of junior high school leavers who had challenges with their placement their issues will be resolved by Friday. Director General Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwa says, with the exception of students who want to change schools or their residential status, others with genuine issues will be resolved. Out of the 122,000 students who are challenges with the self-placement system, over 80,000 have so far been placed. Komla Dome reports it was a generally orderly process Tuesday as heavy police deployment coordinated proceedings.
A day after chaos broke out here at the Black Star Square, which saw at least 3 students and a parent pass out during a near stampede due to attempts to get solutions to the school placement challenges, the situation has changed markedly. Here at the Black Star Square Tuesday, officials of the Ghana Education Service, the police, the Computerized School Selection Placement Secretariat have sort of provided an escape or an alternative for the scores of parents and students who throng this place to attempt to get placements for their children. So what you see in the picture at the moment is parents and students attempting to select 2 schools out of about 80 or more schools that have been provided for them to choose from. What it is that once you choose 2 schools which have available places or slots, you make your way to the Solution Center, an official will attend to you, and then the process continues from there. I've been speaking to some of the parents who are yet to go through the process. Here's what they've been telling me.
I'm in the queues long time. I don't know even where to pass and even where to go. And there's nobody to tell us that my people be here or be there.
But the police made an announcement that you people should occupy specific sheds, so they come and call you 20, then you come. 20.
I went there, there's no response. When they said the yellow side is from certain aggregate to certain aggregate. When you go there, when you mention that, they said this is not the place.
But you see St. Tracy's, when you 13, I'm to number 2, West Africa. You can have press motor. So I'm see, I just said, bad day, to me, my diamond. Minis come the behind dime. Yaba free fiada, a Jordan and ne. The mabbe some so I'm finding 12 roses day, and mammy.
So Margaret Samponsan says her daughter was placed at West Africa Senior High School in Accra when they live at Akwetia in the eastern region, and so they want a school around Akwetia given to her daughter so that she would be a day student there at least, rather than be a day student that was here in Accra, which is far away from where they live. I've been speaking to some of the parents who have gone through the process so far. They say assurances are not certain. They've been told that they should expect a phone call from the Secretariat by Friday to know which of the 2 schools they selected will have their ward attend.
When I went there, they said we should wait for them to identify whether they are going to give us the green or the gold. Okay. So we have to wait for them to call us. Okay. And that means in this case, we have to wait till they call us. So if they are learning, that means they are learning ahead of them.
But they didn't give you any indication when they will call you?
No. Okay,
so what was there?
And we wanted to change the school. The school that they gave here is under Canopy, Eastern Region, St. Thomas, which is not good for me to take my word to that place. So I intended that they should give us the second choice, which is Winneba. We went there and the house mistress said we should come for letterhead from the educational office. We went there, they said we go to sports office. We went there, they said we should come to this place. And we came here since last week. From Monday, from there to today. By the time that they finish up this thing, it's almost a time.
There is heavy police deployment here. I've counted more than 25 police officials. I spoke to Accra Region SWAT Commander of the Ghana Police Service, DSP Suleimana Sule Jr. He tells me that the police had to review their strategy together with the Ghana Education Service following the chaos that broke out yesterday.
We're all not happy to see what happened here yesterday when the numbers swelled up and the people here actually could not even continue with the work. So we had a meeting, the regional police commander, his second in command, the regional operations officer, and then a few officers. We came around and had a meeting with them. And then so moving forward, we have to review our security arrangements. And that's exactly what we did today. The officials of the school placement and the GES also made us to understand that they have categorized the people. Not everybody here is here with the same problem. So they actually detail officers and then different decks to attend to these issues. So this morning, having put these crash barriers to control and manage the crowd around this act, just to enable the people working to be able to work, we spoke with them and then we put them in the various groupings so that if you had scored between an aggregate of 6 and 7, 8, 9, and 10, you were put under a particular shed. And then if you are here with a special case, you are also put together and then under a particular shed. Today, we didn't want anybody to form a winding queue and then stand in the sun, but to put them under the shed. And so with the arrangement we have under the Act, at each time or particular time, we go in and bring in, say, about 20 people with a particular issue, and then they sit down. After they have finished attending to them, we go in again to the stands and bring in another batch.
We can now listen to the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwah, who has been speaking with my colleague Komlado.
The issues that we have here are just about 2 or 3. There are people who have done automatic self-placement. We did the automatic placement for them. And they are people who selected their own schools, 5 choices, and we've placed them in one of them. But for most of them, they want to come around and then see if they could change because maybe they didn't get their first choice or they didn't get their second choice. But at least they had one of their choices. Okay. Now, for them, what we are saying is that once it is your own choice, you cannot change. Now, then we have those who come in here who say, I am day, but I want to do boarding. What we're saying is that you can't change. If for any reason we will change for you, then we are going to give you a comparable school in the area where you live so that you still go and do your day. Now, then the next group of students or candidates and applicants that we have here are those who are supposed to do their self-placement. For self-placement, you really does not need to come here to do self-placement because the machine on which you realize that you have not been placed When you go back on that same machine, you can do your self-placement. Okay. So you don't really need to come here. But if you come in here, we'll give you the list of schools that you can select from, and then we expect that they go back, look for a computer and then internet, and then do that self-placement. So those are the issues. Now, yesterday, I believe we had the situation that we had yesterday because we did not work here on Monday, on Saturday and Sunday. So being the first day of the week, we expected a lot of people to come around to come and see what was going on and how they could get their things done. Now today, from the experience of yesterday, we were going to close the place up. But when we came here in the morning, we realized that people had already come to sleep here and are queuing and things like that. So what we've done is that, just as I said, we have put them in the problem areas or the issue areas. So if you look up there, it's one issue. If you look here, there's one issue here. There's another group in that order. So based on the issue that you are bringing, you go to the various places. And I think now everything is working. And we are thankful that it is working. They have listened to us. But let me also put it on record that we need to acknowledge the eagerness and the enthusiasm for people to want to be part of the system. Everybody wants to take advantage of the president's free SHS program. And that is also some of the reasons why you see people thronging here to make sure that they get schools. We are not changing schools. It is part of your selection, which you did yourself. If for any reason you want to change from day to a boarding school, it won't happen. But if you want to change from day to day, then we could get you to a closer place. If, for example, you've chosen a day school in Volta region and you want a day school in Eastern region, that one, when you get to them, they will note it down, and then we'll get you a closer school, a school that is closer to you, that you can still do your day as is required. Okay,
just before I let you go, I've spoken to some of the people who have gone through this procedure and are leaving. They say they've been asked to expect a phone call by Friday to know which of the schools exactly their wards are going. What if they do not get their phone calls? Some of them seem unsure.
They will get it before Friday, on or before Friday. As we speak now, the 122,000 who were supposed to do self-placement, we have less than 40,000 now who have not done self-placement. So in spite of all the issues that we are talking about, a lot of people are doing the self-placement and they are on it. So I believe that by Friday, as we're saying, probably the numbers may have come down to maybe 20,000 or even probably less.
Now, while the hundreds of parents and students pushed and shoved each other under the unforgiving sun at the Black Star Square during the chaos to get their wards placed in senior high school, there were others who were only there to cash in on the situation. It however turns out their services proved quite a lifesaver. Konado reports.
Water was arguably the most sought-after commodity on the vast land on the Black Star Square, ironically only a few meters away from the sea. Of course, the vendors were on hand to offer the much-needed respite. As the sun burned their skin, they reached for the nearest sachet water or even some juice. Those who needed more than just water got some food. Vendors offered them a break from the chaos. The look on the faces of these parents told a story of frustration, but there was nobody to address their concerns. Tuesday is another day, and the vendors will surely show up at the Black Star Square to earn their keep.
In other news, Asante Youth Association is demanding a retraction and apology from former President Mahama's office for discrediting Asante's claim he persuaded him to concede defeat in the 2016 elections. A statement signed by former Chief of Staff Julo Debra maintained Mr. Mahama was not prevailed upon to hand over power. Aya describes the statements as disrespectful and calls on the former president and the NDC to withdraw. Operations Director Nana Opongboedi says Monday's press briefing by the NDC General Secretary was needless because they failed to address the issue. Aya says it will make the Ashanti region hostile for the NDC if it fails to heed the call.
We the youth in this kingdom, whenever he comes to Kumasi, we will make this place a hostile for him. We will make this place a hostile for him. Because you can't come and beg and receive blessings from the king to become a president, and in a few years you turn around. I'm not going to allow that again. And not Mahama alone. We are sending this warning to all the political activists in this country that Santihiri is above party politics. Nobody like Julius Dambila, the former chief of staff, will just come and say the king head or is a liar. And that is why we are saying you should come out and apologize, because it's rather trying to undermine the effort that the king has made to uplift the flag of Ghana and Asanteman, and also the peace that he's trying to preach to the world that we have it in this country is rather not true. And therefore this will also scare the investors to come into our country and invest, because the king's speech is trying to marketing Ghana and Asanteman for other investors and those at the diaspora to come and invest in this country, and also see us as the pivot of what democracy in Africa. We were asking if it's true. That's what we were asking. Was Julius there when Nana was talking to Mahama? Was he there when Nana was calling Mahama on phone? When they were negotiating, when they were discussing those issues? So he can't just say he conceded on his own behalf. But even at the UN, Nana didn't say that he forced Mahama to concede.
Now, are you a prospective homeowner in a dilemma of making a decision on a plan for your dream house? We explore the role of an architect in using one's lifestyle in drawing up construction plans that addresses the homeowner's desires, giving him or her maximum effort. JoyNews' Commandum is one of such prospective homeowners who sought the advice of an architect in getting an artistic design for his ideal two-bedroom apartment in Accra. This is in line with our JoyNews Habitat Fair 2019 happening from the 20th to the 2nd September 2019.
This is my dilemma. I have a piece of land in one of Accra's suburbs, which is Adenta, and I am thinking about what to put up on the structure. A two-bedroom apartment, to be precise. But what kind of apartment am I looking for? I do not know. What kind of design am I looking for? I am still confused. That is why I'm here to see the principal architect here at Modest Design and Build, Mr. Edward Tinkrine. So here, this is my problem.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kobla. Here, the first question I would like to know as a professional is why a two-bedroom?
Well, I guess I am not looking to having a big family, perhaps just me, my wife, and one son.
Okay, all right, good. So with that also, you said your land document, everything is set.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the next stage is I would like to take your design brief in terms of what would you like in your two-bedroom house.
A little luxury, a little green, all amenities in there. Essentially, yeah, with comfort.
Okay. And also one of the most important things we look at is your budget for the whole thing, because you can dream and at the end of the day you're not able to put it up, and it's more like a cost-90 work. You know, one of the things that we really focus on as architects is exactly what you want, because we want you to be satisfied with the services we render to you. So let's say, like you said, you want the two-bedroom to be kind of luxurious in a way. Okay, so first of all, I'll show you some samples of works we've done.
Okay. Then
based on that, we can pick it from there.
All right, sure.
All right. So the one I'm going to show you, it's a project we did at Abilingbe by the title, The Bachelor's Part. Okay, this project is for a very young man who is not really ready to start a family. You know, so basically this is what we put up for him.
Okay.
And as you can see, the design is more of a sustainable design. You see, we have more greens around, large windows to bring in more light. so that, let's say, you use less electricity.
Okay.
You understand? And also, we have large windows for ventilation and all that. And this is also the back, whereby we also introduce a swimming pool very close to the master bedroom. And also, he has his little study here as a young man. You know, maybe he's an entrepreneur. You know, we provided a study for him as well. Okay, so let's say based on your brief and what you want, and all, we can come up with a scheme. And from this part of the design process, we would like to involve you as much as possible, so that it's not about we doing the thing all alone, but we need you to be involved. So at the end of the day, what you want will be exactly what you get. You understand? Yeah. So that's just about it when it comes to designing for you.
Okay. So yeah. I think this is great. I mean, yeah. I don't know how much it will cost me to get this, but I'm sure I can be sufficiently able to settle this. But then let's talk about, now I have chosen the design that I think I want. What next?
Okay, when you choose the design you want, through the schematic design process and all that, when you make your mind, we show you the schemes and you approve. From then, we move to our working drawings, whereby we put more technicality into the design. Okay. Whereby I involve my structural engineer, my draftsman, my electrical guys to do all the services they need for you to be able to acquire your permit and all that. So most importantly, I'll need to know your budget. So based on your budget, we'll design something within the budget so we don't blow things out of proportion. Okay. You understand? So basically that's what it is. So it's good you have your site plan ready now. So from there, we start with a schematic design and we can pick it from there.
Does the architect play any role in, say, determining the location for siting the property? In this case, I have the property already. Okay. Are you going to go there, for example, assess the place, and you can advise me that this place is not good for the property?
Definitely. You see, it's always important for the architect to pay a site visit. And based on the site visit, you are able to check, first of all, the topographical nature of the land, the wind direction, where the sun rises from and sets. You see, all these things play a part in designing. Okay, for example, let's say in the morning, we have this very hot sun, morning sun, you see, and if you place your very important windows on those sides of the building, at the end of the day, during mornings, the room will be heated up. That's like most of the time when we design, we try to put the less important space, like let's say the washroom. We don't stay in the washroom for a long time. So basically we position the washrooms on those sides of the sun, so that in terms of any heating of the wall is within a space that is not so important and the design gets more functional.
Look, I have come to see the architects. They've given me all the advice, what I need to know and what I need to make that important decision.
It's just about 48 hours to the final of this year's Cosmos Innovation Center's Agritech Challenges. 12 businesses slug it out for the enviable financial support by the organizers. The teams have built prototype innovations as part of efforts to finding solutions to the numerous challenges confronting the agriculture sector in Ghana. JoyNews' Henry Kwesi Bedu visited the team at their pre-pitch meeting and has more in the following report.
The performance of Ghana's agriculture sector has over the years been on decline as the sector is faced with numerous challenges. As part of efforts to find lasting solutions to these problems, a group of innovators were put together by the Cosmos Innovation Center in this year's Agritech Challenge to develop solutions through ICT and innovations. The business competition, which started 9 months ago, is at its climax as the 12 finalists showcased their prototypes at the final pitch on Thursday. According to the Plant Protection and Regulatory Service Directorate, farmers lose a third of their produce through pest infestation. Eat Fresh is finding a solution to that problem.
Our product is Shelf Life Pro. Shelf Life Pro is made from an organic formulation of organic sugars, which are very edible, which have minimal side effects, and which is usually done on other fruits and vegetables. But in Ghana, this is the first time we are introducing it in Ghana. But for most of the fruits that are imported into the country, that is applied to it to extend its shelf life. So when you go to our malls, almost all the fruits that have come in from other countries have some form of organic coating around it to allow it to stay on the shelves for longer than normal. So that is what we have come up with. For the ordinary Ghanaian farmer, especially tomatoes farmers, we realize that about 50% of what they farm do not get to the final consumer. They lose it along the way. It happens as a result of handling, as a result of microbial attack, and as a result of oxidation processes. And so because tomatoes is a very perishable vegetable, if you don't handle it with care, within a shorter period, it gets deteriorated. And so for us, we are coming in with this solution to help reduce the losses that the farmers encounter right from the farm gate to the market, and even for the individual consumer at home. What our solution does is once you coat it with onto your tomatoes, it allows it to stay more than 4 times the normal lifespan of the tomatoes on the shelves.
For the bulletin, my name is JoyOnline. Thank you very much for watching. You have a good night. PM Express comes up next, and they're going to focus on the lessons on the dead Takoradi girls. To stay tuned in, Evan Spencer is standing by with this panel.